Hello, hello. Can you hear me fine, Buckfast? It's been a good weekend. We are just about ready to get started. Just have to check all of the files first. So if the audio is fine, just give me a thumbs up in the chat, and we're gonna begin shortly. Alright, excellent. Alright, excellent. Let's just get started. So it's been a really long time since I've done one of these. So apologies in advance. If there's anything you want to know, just ask out in chat. I'll try to answer whatever you guys want to know in there. And we're just gonna, the plan for today is just go through the tools that you have available. And from there, just show you what everything does and how you can use them. So without further ado, let's see. All right. So we are in the enfusion workbench. If you don't know how to open this, let me just turn down the music a little bit. It's a little bit too loud for myself. Alright, so I've started a completely brand new project. Haven't done anything yet. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna open a new world. So for this we can just use Eden. You can search here in the research browser. You can just find the world, and here we have a Eden entity. I'm just going to use that for now. We got about 6 hours of footage this weekend with the new L96. Hopefully I can learn from expert. yeah. We'll see how it's gonna go. Alright, so the first time you open a world like this, it's going to be something like this. I already have the cinematic timeline open. If you do not have it, make sure you go to Window and you select the cinematic timeline so it works for you. Let's see. Let's change the screen capture so you guys can actually see what I'm seeing. There we go. Alright, so what you want to do, if you don't have cinematic timeline down here by the resource browsers, you gotta go to Window and you enable that. And once you've done that, you're about ready to begin. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go through camera. So once you're here in cinematic timeline, you first have to add a scene. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to add a scene. You can call it whatever you want. Let's call this one cinematic tutorial. Okay. Now you see the scene here. But we don't have any tracks in it yet. So the thing we have to do is you have to add a track. We add a camera track. And that's how you get a camera inside of the world. You can give it a name. We're just gonna call it camera. That's fine. So now you have a camera in the world. So it's gonna be like this. If you enable it here by the camera icon, and you open it up, you see you have a lot of different options to play around with. So you have the position of the camera. Right now it's teleported me way out there. But say I want to be here. Okay, so now I press this, and this is a keyframe. So what it did, it placed the camera here in this field. So if I try to move away and I go back to the timeline, it will transport me to where I set the keyframe. So now if I change position in the x-axis, you see it moves in the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. But you can just hold down the right mouse button and look wherever you want. If you look this way, make sure you press the keyframe so it saves. So if I move this way, it snaps back to the keyframe. So now you know the position. That's what that is. You have angles. So you have the X angle, which is up and down. You have the Y angle and the Z angle. And if you change it, it changes the first keyframe, which is now keyframe 0. And then you have the FOV of the camera, or the field of view. On standard, it's set to 45. If you increase it, you have more field of view. Hello there, Gorilla 9. Nova Scotia. Oh my god, that's almost Arctic, isn't it? So if you increase the field of view, you get more in frame. If you decrease the field of view, you get less. See that? All right, so that's the field of view. Of course, you can always enter the number you want with your keypads. And then you have Scotland, yeah. Then you have depth of field. So if I enable depth of field, it gets a bit blurry. And that's because the focus distance is set to 5 meters. So if I increase the focus distance by just sliding, you see how more comes into focus. Yeah. So, but we can also play around with how near we want it to be. So if I set 0, everything close to the camera is going to be in focus. If I set far to be like 500, you get more in frame, more in focus. All right, so this is just how focus works. Let's disable that. Then you have an advanced depth of field. If you know how to use a camera, like an expensive mirrorless camera or something like that, this is going to make more sense to you. So you have the focus distance, but you also have the f-stops. And f-stop is, and correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but it has to do with how much light the lens is carrying in. So if I have a sensor size of 50, and we have a auto focal length, and we have a focal length of 50, it means that on an f.14 stop, you're gonna have a more blurry background for close objects. So if I bring it down to 1.5, it's going to be a lot more blurry. But everything that's close to you, like this, is going to stay in focus. So it's a more advanced depth of field that you can play around with to get that nice effect of having the background being blurry in your cinematics. Well, let's disable that for now. And lastly, you have HDR, which is high dynamic range. This is basically just the light value. So if I enable it and increase, it's how bright or how much light the sensor is kind of taking in. So that's how that works. And you can manually play around with this. Okay, so now you know what the settings are. So what we're gonna do now is that we're gonna keyframe the camera. So I want the camera to start here on this road. Okay, let's just start with this. So on this road, I want a keyframe. So I press this, and now it's snapped to that position that I have. But I want the camera to move backwards. Say like I want the camera to stop after a few seconds. I want the camera to stop like here. Okay. Then what I would need to do is move the timeline. Let's say to like after 5 seconds or something. I want it to be here. I just add a keyframe on the camera where I want it to be at that time. Like this. You see how it creates a line between those two keyframes. And this line is what is known as a cubic line, which means it's gonna start slow and it's gonna fade into this point. So you see what happens now if I press play. You see the camera is gonna move from point A to point B, just like that. If I want it, I think that's a little slow, I can move the keyframe on the timeline, like this, and it's gonna go much faster. And now we're at that point. You see how the camera almost like eases into that keyframe. And from here, you can add as many keyframes as you want. Say that after this, at 350, I want the camera to go up. I add a keyframe, and it's gonna go first to the keyframe we set earlier. That's low. And then it's gonna move up. And it's gonna do so in like a cubic fashion. So it's gonna be very smooth moving. Okay. So now we manipulated the camera position. What we can do now is that we can, for instance, on our way there, I want to change the angle a bit. So let's see. I want to tilt the camera a little bit. Okay, and it's going to go back to 0 because we didn't have tilt on this keyframe. I'm going to add a little bit here. And up here, I want to do a little like this. So what it's going to do now is going to move into those angles as we go. Just press space. You see that, how it floats now? Because we manipulated the angles of the keyframe. So it's going to go from 0 to the value -8, and it's going to decrease to up to 2, and it's going to decrease again up to -3. Because that's the values we set. Right? If I don't want any of these values, or I think it's too much, I can always just decrease it on that point, and it's gonna change accordingly. Alright. And the field of view works exactly the same. So let's say we start with something like 25. You can always just type like this. You want to move, you want to increase the field of view over time, or keep it the same. But let's say at the end of this, we want it to be 35 or like 50, so more dramatic, so you guys can see. So now you'll see that the field of view is changing with the keyframes. See that? Right. And then we can, it's the same with depth of field. You can start out with a set focus distance. Let's say it's gonna start it out really blurry. And after the first keyframe, we're gonna get it nice and sharp. Then it's gonna look like this. It's gonna fade into that. This is how you manipulate the camera and its values. So let's just disable that. It's the same with this. You can change the focus distance. You can change the f-stop. The lower the f-stop, the more blur you're gonna have. and you can change the sensor size. A larger sensor can take in more light, basically, in photography, the lingo. At least that's how I think it works. And lastly, it's HDR. Works exactly the same. If I want to change the HDR to be dark, I can do it like this. And it's gonna change the light value as we go. And that is basically all of the settings for the camera track. So how can you guys actually use this for something you guys want to make? So you can turn off tracks like this with the eye icon, and it's not going to show. Like, I turn down all of the angles, so it's just going to be like a flat like this. If I enable it, it's going to include the angles. So you can disable tracks as you go, or you can lock different stuff. So you can lock the field of view to 45, for instance. Alright. Say the thing you want to make. If you're making a mod, you want to showcase something. You want to showcase one of the things you made. So let's put down the LAV 25. So if you haven't made a scene first, you just have to say yes. And it's going to create a sub scene. You have to do this if you want to put things in the world and film them. So let's get started here. So now I've done that. I'm going to put the LAV in here like this. There we go. So say this is the thing that I want to film. We're going to use the cinematic timeline. So I want to start off like this. Say I want to be really close. I'm going to push that. So now it's going to start here. Just delete the old keyframes here because we don't need them. We're going to start from scratch, and we're going to make something around this. So we're going to showcase the LAV sort of. So what I want to do is that I want to, after 1 or 2 seconds here, I want to move back like this. Okay. I can always look how it looks. Okay, it's a little bit fast. If I want to increase the timeline, I can just change when it ends. So let's say I want 1200, then that becomes available to me. You can even start at negative. I think you can start like -10. No? Yeah, -10. So you can even start earlier than 0 if you want, but I don't see a point for it now. So say we want to go like this, and after, let's say 200, and at 400 we have moved over here, and after 600 you've moved down here, and after 800 you moved back on up here. This is just showcase, it's not how it's gonna. This is just so you guys get the idea. And then we're back around here. We did a loop around to showcase the thing. So what it's gonna do is gonna move back. You see how linear it is. No, like cubic it is. So it's moving into the keyframes. So this is how you just make a quick showcase. So that's a practical way of doing it. If you wanna move the timeline, you just hold down the right mouse button. I think you can zoom out by holding Control and just scrolling up and down, so you can get everything in line. If you wanna see the track itself, you can press this arrow that goes up, and here you can see the starting point with the yellow cube and all of the points that it goes through. So for every keyframe it's yellow. So here you can see the path that it takes. So if you want to adjust, say, the first one, let's move it back a little bit. Hail scale speeder. Okay. You can move it even further. You see how it becomes a greater distance between the blue boxes. It's gonna make that means there's very few points between. It's gonna move very fast. So it's gonna go really slow because there's a lot of points between, and it's gonna go really fast like that. And that's because we move this keyframe closer to the other. Then it's gonna reduce the amount of points in between these. So you want to do a slow motion. Oh, let's see. The Buckfast is saying, I was thinking about doing an ambush in slow motion with FIA throwing a grenade and the camera follows the grenade. Yeah, that's something you can do. It's gonna take a little while. I'll show you guys how to do soldiers and manipulate soldiers soon. First, we're gonna just finish up with the camera, because there's a lot of things to go over with the camera. Okay, so I want to have, this is just the example again, a little bit FOV here. I want depth of field to be like something like this. So let's set length near to 500 and that one to 1000. This is all vanilla tools, guys. Yeah, if I forgot to say that, this is just vanilla. This is how Bohemia Interactive uses the same tools to make trailers, so you can do it as well. And so here we go. This is the focus. You see, let's just change this to 250 over 500. I don't want to be anything extreme here. Okay, so when I move back, I want to change the field of view a little bit more. So I want to increase the focus distance. And we go here. I'm not happy with how the camera turns here. So say I want to change that. Okay, I think this is not in focus. I'm going to move the camera and press camera, and it's going to save that, right? Okay, we're moving over here. Ah, it's not entirely in. I'm just going to move the camera where I want it, create a new keyframe, and it's going to keep the camera where I want it to be. So here I'm too close. Okay, I'll need to fix that. Let's just increase the field of view for just this and point it up like that. Okay. You see how that works? Now we're just showcasing. Okay, I want it to be more like this. Okay. Over here, I want it more like this. And here, I want it more like this. This just to show you guys what the point is. Okay, so here we go. It moves. I'm gonna turn off that. Okay. A little bit more field of view. All right. Very nice. Okay. As you see, the viewport right now on 4 is going to take over the world. Yeah, let's see about that. But maybe you see how the viewport is dependent on how this the boxes around here, the window. So I want to have this in 16:9. So I want to change the camera here. So what I can do is that I can change the aspect ratio to 16:9. So now I know how everything is going to look in standard 16:9, right? So if I do like this, yeah, now we have standard 16:9, which I like. You can even go and have this in 4:3, like a box if you want. I don't know why you would, but you can. There's some other settings here. I'm not entirely sure about all of this, but this is just how you move the camera in general in the Workbench. You can have it to terrain collision. You can change the camera speed and inertia and stuff like that. you don't really need this right now. You can also change what you can see, like objects, the distance, like this is 3,000 meters. So you can change it to like a lot higher if you want. You can, if you want to do phone portrait mode, I guess you just have to render that out in a different way. All right, so say I want to have a little bit bigger here. Changing it around. Okay, at this point I want it to be, let's increase this so we can get the effect I want. You see, it adds the keyframes for me. I want to keep it really locked in here. This point is to like that. Now it's not in focus. So we're gonna do like this. Like this. Alright. Yeah. Alright. And it's gonna end like that. Okay, you guys get the idea. There's a lot of shit you can do with just the camera module itself. And I'm not gonna go deeper into the camera thing now, except one thing, and I know a lot of you guys are gonna love the hell out of this. A lot of people want camera shake. Say you're making an action scene here like the Buckfast, and he wants to make a cool action scene. Action scenes, they need camera shake, right? So what do you do? How do you add camera shake? Well, some people would use a different program like Adobe Premiere or something like it and artificially add it. But in Workbench, we can actually add something called a noise track. So say I want to just add, to make camera shake, you just want to manipulate the angles of the camera, right? So in here, there's something called a track modifier. So on the angles, I want to add a track modifier. I press 1. Noise cinematic. So here, I have enabled a noise track. I can restrict the range for when this is going to happen. So say this is from 0 to 300. We're going to have this noise track. For now, I'm just going to have it on the entire thing. So this enabled. It's set to 0.1 in strength. The speed is 2 and there's an offset. So what happens now is that you should have a little bit of camera shake. So if I increase the strength, you see that? It's a little bit much, but you get the point. You can add some camera shake to it. Say I don't like how it's wobbly. So we're going to take the speed down to 1, but we're going to increase the strength of it. So now it's more like floaty like this. 3 is actually way too much for my taste. Say that 1.5. Okay, that's more natural, right? It looked like it's handheld. Yeah, that's the point. It's camera shaking. And if you want to make cinematics and action scenes, you definitely need camera shake, or else it's gonna feel unnatural. So this is how you add camera shake. But say you don't want it for all of the track, right? You want to restrict the range of this. So at a certain point, say there's an explosion in the scene, you can say, okay, the start frame is 384. Okay, that's where I'm at now. The end frame is 504, and it's going to be a blend in and blend out. So now it's not going to be any camera shake, and then it's just going to go woo, and then it's going to stop. You guys see that? So imagine, hi Niklas. So imagine, guys, there's an explosion, and then it goes off. We can just create that right now, actually, because now we're going to move on to other tracks. You have a lot of different tracks. I've been going for like 30 minutes already, and there's a lot more tracks to go over. But we want to add effects. Okay, we're just going to start with that. We're not going to take all of this because it's going to be a lot. So let's do an effects track. Okay. Now I have an effects track. I need an effect. Okay, let's do particle effect entity. Okay, put it in the field back here. Okay, now I have a particle effect entity way back here. What's that? How I'm going to use this? Well, you have an effect path on this object. Have you heard the particle? We're going to call it explosion, something like that. Explosion. I don't know if that's how you write it, but let's add the effect like RPG explosion. Oh, there was an explosion there. All right, so now we have an RPG explosion. It's not gonna play on spawn. It's just gonna play in the editor. Boom, 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 boom. I'm just gonna play this over and over again. But you can add the sound effects yourself when you're editing the video. So now we have explosion. That's the name of the track. So we're gonna rename the FX track to explosion. Okay. And we're gonna keyframe when it goes off. So let's say it goes off here. We're gonna put it there. Yeah, there is. You guys see that? I don't know if it's hard to see, but if I play on that point, it's gonna go off. Okay? So say you have the explosion closer. You can just move the explosion how you want. You can move it here. And boom. You guys see that? So what we want to do now, say this is the camera explosion. We're gonna change the restricted view of the camera shake. Say we have to have it at 184. Okay, and the explosion is over at this point, and that is 818. Oh, it's a little bit 170, and it's done at 184. Is that gonna be right? Yeah, okay. Increase that a little bit. We'll increase the strength like crazy. And it's gonna be like a boom. Saw that? Okay, let's catch up on chat because there's been a lot of shit going on. Welcome, Niklas. Niklas is a proud supporter of the channel. If you want to support the channel as well, you can subscribe or become a member, just like Niklas, and get your name in fancy green. I haven't seen any other game that offers as much as this for us to play with. I can agree in extent to the Workbench, yes. One thing I couldn't find was adding explosive decals. I'll have another look. Sober this time. Sober this time. Yeah, there is a way, but it's a little bit tricky, and I'm not gonna show it off this time around because it's a little bit technical, and I just want to focus on things that are more or less simple. So here you have the effect. We're gonna increase the strength even more so you guys see. So now we added camera shake to the explosion just by manipulating the camera noise track. Alright. And you guys also learned how to use the FX track. And the FX track, if it wasn't obvious, you just go to create and you can add a particle effect entity and just put it anywhere you want. Let's call this smoke, I guess. And inside of the properties here of the entity, you can go to the effect path, find a smoke effect, photo smoke, smoke trail medium, smoke generator big, vehicle smoke, exhaust, flare smoke. So a lot of effects you can use. Let's just try smoke trail medium, like that. We'll just have the effects track called smoke. I'm just gonna start it from scratch like this. So now it's just gonna play continuously. Boom, smoke is just there. So you can add a number of things with the particle effect entity. And if you want to add sound effects to it and stuff like that, you just do that in post. Most of us just add most of the sound effects in post anyway. Okay, so now you know the camera and you know how to place down an effect. Let's try another custom track. So now let's see if we can, let's just remove all of this that we made so far. We don't need all of it. So just remove this. We're gonna start by working on a character, because I know a lot of people are interested in how do I manipulate manipulate characters in the Workbench. So when it comes to cinematics, there are basically two ways of doing this. You have, let's see, what's it called? We need to first find the camera character. Let's just go to a prefab, characters, factions. Let's put down US Army, Green Beret, this guy. There we go. Okay, I want to control this guy. And there's a few things you can do. So in the cinematic timeline, we're just going to give him a name. Let's call him Soldier. And in the timeline, we're just going to add a character track. All right. We're going to add character track. We're going to name it Soldier. Okay. Let's enable him. There are a lot of child tracks to this. We're not gonna use the noise track on the Soldier. But if I open up the Soldier track, there's a lot of stuff we can manipulate. Starting with movement speed, and you have from 0 to 3. 3 is full sprint, and 1 is just walking. You want it to be forward or backward. 1 is forward, -1 is backwards. All right. You want it to be a strafe to the right. You can go all the way as 1. It's going to be a maximum strafe, or we can just keep him straight. You can change the heading angle. It's going to be based on his current 0, which is forward. If you change to the right, I'm pretty sure it's going to move like 1 o'clock. You can have it all the way up to 3, which is as far right as I think it's far right. And then you have the other way, which is the angle he's heading. All right, let's just keep that to 0 as well. You can have the character aiming left, right, down and up with his weapon. And to do this, the weapon needs to be raised. So if you disable that, it's going to be, the weapon is going to be down in the standard pose and the carry pose. And if you have weapon raised, his weapon is going to be up. You also have roll left and roll right. I don't remember exactly, but let's just check them out. If you have muscle 1, that means he fires his weapon. So if we press 1 here and 1 here, that means the weapon will be fired in fire mode 1 at this point. You have, with this weapon, you have burst as well, so I think you have 3 different fire modes. So you can change, so on this keyframe, he's gonna go full auto or something. Okay? It's gonna be a lot happening here. So let's not focus on shooting just yet. Let's just try and get him to move. So there's a lot more. You can have him equip stuff. What to equip? You can put the entity name here, and you can have him aim at different things. So if you put down an object, you call it target. He will aim at that thing and shoot at that thing. Okay. You have jump. You have reload. You have equip muscle. I think that means equip like a suppressor if you have that in the storage. You have single shot, automatic fire. You have def, which is it just means it's gonna ragdoll when you do that. You have throw, which is grenade, and you have actions like get in pilot, get out of pilot, cargo, get in turret, equip, activate, and open. So there's a lot of different stuff you can play around with. For now, we have set the movement speed to 1. We need to set the camera. So just give us a little bit of space. So let's set it here and here. And nothing's gonna happen if you press play. To view this, you need to preview, and we need to name the world, I guess. Let's put it in cinematic tutorial. Call it cinematic tutorial. It's switching to game mode, and it's gonna preview. This is the only way for you to check out how it looks. That's exactly what I expected to happen. Alright. That's not good. This is also Arma, by the way. Let's jump back into it. Okay. Of course that had to happen. Hopefully everything is right where we left off. Don't be shocked, everyone. This is also very normal. Alright, let's just start over. We don't have anything in this world. Put it back to 16 by 9. We're gonna put down a character. Just gonna do it quickly. Let's try this guy. Like this. Save. Timeline. Add a scene. We need a camera like this. We need a character track. Soldier. We're gonna name him Soldier. Oh, there's already one. Oh yeah, that's from previous. Soldier. We're gonna do movement speed 1.6. Okay, he's just gonna start moving. We're gonna put this here, the camera here, and camera here. All right. If it crashes again, it's just how Arma is. There we go. That's gonna happen to you a lot. And that is because I forgot to change something. And I know exactly what it is. So for the camera, what was it? No, it's here. On the play button, Arma being Arma, on the play button, you don't want play from camera position. If you disable that, it's not going to spawn the character in front of him. So if we try again, we're just gonna have the character that we told to move is gonna be moving. You see that? And his weapon is up. So now we know how to make a character move forward, but there's also a lot more options we can play around with. So let's say I want him to be moving at 0.5 speed. I don't want his weapon to be up right away. I want it to be up halfway, and then I want him to fire his weapon 3 times, something like that. And we're gonna save, and we're just gonna see what happens. 90% of you making a cinematic in this is just, let's see what happens if I press this. So he's moving really slow, weapon is going up, no fire because I only set muzzle, which means we need to probably do single shot here, here, and here. Okay, let's see how that works. And how has everyone's weekend been so far? He's slow walking. Fire, fire, fire. Perfect. Everything is going according to plan. And we haven't crashed yet. Okay. Good, good, good. So let's play around a little bit more. His movement is way too slow. I want it to be like, we can increase it a little bit more, 750. And have the shots be pretty close to each other. Okay. I want him at this point, when his weapon go up, I want him to his stance to go from the top to say 60. Okay, something like that. So at this point it's gonna go down, but from here, so it's gonna decrease slowly to this position. Let's just check out. Now we're cooking, Solsky. Alright, so now he should open the weapon, he go down, shooting a little quicker. Excellent. It's working. So now you're controlling the character, and where you go from here is up to you. So let's increase this a little bit. Like this. At this point, maybe we want to try. Let's see if we can get him to throw a grenade. Throw end. See how that works. That's how this works. Just try something, and we'll figure out the camera angles and shit like that later. Let's just make the character do what we want, and then we film it. It's out of view for... I heard him do it! I just need to move the camera. Let's check this out, because he did the thing that Buckfast wanted. We just need to move the camera further back. Alright. Needs to be way back here earlier. See how this works. Yeah, let's preview that. You can't just press the play button in the editor and see what happens. You have to preview, and that's gonna take a little time for you anyway, all the time. So get used to it. And now he's gonna pick up his grenade, throw start, throw. Excellent. The AI heard your request. Alright. So you, from here, the thing you have to do is that you have to figure out, okay, the character moved this far. So moved from here to here. Okay. I don't need all that. So he moved from this point to this point. At this point he's doing the thing, and my camera needs to be at A, B, and C. Godspeed, scale speeder. Gotta go, guys. Excellent tutorial. We'll be catching up with the VOD. Thanks, guys. Yeah, excellent. Have a good night. Hello, Nillers. Hello. Okay, so now you guys know how to make the character move. One interesting thing we can do, if we just remove these, is that once he has his weapon up, what we can do is that we can making aim. I'm just gonna do it to the extreme here, so you guys get the point. Move left, aim right, aim down, aim up. We're gonna change these values. I didn't save, but I hope it works anyway. We're just gonna change the values and see how it works. So, okay, contact. Oh, it's a little too much. And that's because it goes from 0 to the value that we set too quickly. And the way you fix that, I'll show you now. So the way we fix this is, since it goes from here to here really quickly, no, it's aim left. It goes from 0 to 1.5. We need to have a keyframe before, so the value has time to reach this. And the same, it will go to here, and just let's have it go back to 0 at this point. Alright, let's see if that happens as well with the aim down. I don't think it does. Let's see, aim down. Yeah, it goes too quickly. Let's just do like this, and then it goes like this. Then we'll just have 0 here. Alright. So, yeah. Have it like this. Yeah, happy with that. Just moving the camera a little bit, because I noticed it was a little bit too jank. So now, let's see what it does. And after I'm done with this, we are gonna move over to the second one. Yeah, we fixed the issue. Yeah, up and down, and yeah, perfect. It's a little bit stiff. Like, you can tell he's obviously very robotic. Let's see if we can fix that anyway. You can always add track modifiers to everything and see how that works for you. So I don't know how heading angle. See what happens. It's always interesting seeing what the hell happens. So we added a modifier to the heading angle. That means the value is going to change with the noise. It's going to be random. Yeah, I can tell a little bit. I can tell a little bit that it's giving the character random values. So you can play around with noise tracks on all of the sub tracks for this. And it will give you different results. You have to play around and figure out what you want to do with it. So I'm going to remove the noise track from this. Okay. And jump, of course, that's exactly what you think it is. Fire mode is what you think it is. You can change that. Single shot, full auto start and end. If you have a machine gun, that was obviously helpful to use. And you have ragdoll. So if I press ragdoll here, it will put him in a ragdoll state based on like the tempo he has. So if he's running, he's gonna obviously fall over. Yeah. So that's so janky. But that's how it works. That's just how it works. Alright. And you have all of these other things you can try. We did try throw the grenade thing. That worked fine. And yeah, there you have it. That's method 1 of doing characters. And now we're gonna try method number 2. So we're gonna delete this thing. We're gonna have a different approach. I have a few custom characters that I use, but for this tutorial we're just gonna use this guy. Let's keep his name to soldier, but what you need is a animation track, and it needs to be the name of the entity you want to animate. So soldier is already created, so we're gonna animate soldier. And this is for, like, you have what's it called, when you have like mo-capped animations, right? There's a few of them in the tutorial. He had enough and gave in poor AI. That will help me if you have, yeah, if this gives you ideas, that's like the point of it. All right, so we need to give soldier something to animate, and there's nothing here you can use to animate him. So how do I use this? How do I use this animation track? You need to add a component to the character. So you need an animation player component. You need to add this to the character. All right. So once you've added the animation player component, you can choose an animation, and the best way to find one is in Reforger. It's short. It's A&M, and then you have a few different options. So in the tutorial, there's a few different animations. You have the toilet boss. Let's try this one. You can adjust when it starts, so you can start a few seconds into an animation if it's really long, or you can take down the speed of it, so you'll have it for a little bit. You can loop it, and you can autoplay it. What we're gonna do, you see it changed into the toilet boss. This is in the tutorial. You know the guy scrubbing the toilets or the toilet. This is the guy that's standing above him. So we're just gonna play. I'm gonna move the camera over here. I'm gonna delete these keyframes because I don't need them. You see? So now you have like the mocap animation playing. And there's a few different animations you can try. You have one for a guy in the vehicle. You have mechanic. What's this? Oh yeah. Scary toilets in the script. Yeah, so you have the mechanic. There's a few toilet maggot. Is that the poor guy? Yeah, that's the poor fella. Look at this pathetic soldier scrubbing his own puke in the toilet of the tutorial. Yeah, but that's how it works, guys. But he has a weapon in his hand. How can I fix this? Well, you have to first and foremost disable the weapon first. And in here you can change, let's say, do we have a wrench? And let's enable the wrench. Does he have a wrench in his hand now? I need to change the animation to actually tell. Officer, phone, talk to players. Let's try this one. There he is talking. And I have the slot here. Oh, I understand. There is a way to put stuff in the hands of the soldiers. So what is that called? I need to cheat a little bit. I have my own soldier for cinematic stuff. What is it called? So what you want to do if you're gonna make a lot of it, animations like this, it could be good to have a character with less of the components. Like the standard Chimera character has all of these components because it has to function as an AI in the game. It needs all of the different components for radio, for equipment, for inventory management. It needs all of this to function. But if you just want him to play an animation, you can have a simpler character with mesh character identity, base loadout, and stuff like that, and go from there. Hands, jackets, slot manager component. That's the thing. So you have right hand prop. Let's see, does he have slot manager component? No, I would have to add that. But if you have the slot manager component, we can change this to the wrench. And let's give him an animation. Same way we did the other guy. We don't need the animal, we need tutorial. Wasn't there like a mechanic? Unequip, search. Let's just try this one. Then we need in the cinematic timeline, we need to soldier 2. Let's just add him, see what happens. Soldier 2. I need to play him here. Need to move the camera over here, see what happens. Okay. Okay, pick up the wrench. Yay! It works. And he's using the wrench because it's set to right hand prop in the slot manager. So now you can use this. Another example that's from the tutorial. I believe it's, what is it? Is it radio sitting ground? There is a guy that is reading. What's it called? You can see this in the RHS trailer as well. You have default. There's a lot of stuff here to go through, guys. You can just... One issue that you'll find is that I haven't figured out yet is some of these where you have walking animations. The animation itself is set to... It's not set to root. So you would have to change it from to root, so he actually walks. And I can't show that here. I'm just going to show you the basics of how to use the animation player. But let's see if we have another guy with a prop. Door guard, friend. Is it friend? Yeah, it's friend. So in the tutorial, there's a guy just chilling like this. reading a magazine. So let's see if we can find that. What would it be called? It wouldn't be called magazine, because that would be stuff like this. Book, notebook, open, something like this. Yeah, do you see that? That's actually perfect. Excellent. So now he has a prop in his hands. So compared to the stuff we had in Arma 3, this is like miles ahead. And there's even an animation in here where he... No, not the notebook. I need the animation. Where he changes pages, I believe. Page. But that wouldn't reflect here, because this is static. So we'll figure that out in another day, but there is a way. In the tutorial they made it work, so if you can hide this, so you can have like this if you can do the cheeky way of just hiding the animation as well. So this is the second way of animating characters. Okay, so you got the way where you use the character track, and then you have the animation track, and they're used for different things, and they have different purposes. What we can do now is that we can animate the vehicle, because a lot of people are asking about vehicles as well. So let's remove the soldiers, and we'll add like the LEV again, maybe, because that has a turret, so it's really cool. Alright, put the LEV down. Now we have LEV 1. Well, let's go back into the cinematic timeline. Let's add a vehicle track. LEV 1. Excellent. So inside here you have start engine, efficiency, that's how efficient it's gonna be. Steering, that's right and left. You have what gear it's in, so you can really choke this LEV on first gear if you really want. There should be, is there a... No, there's no automatic, so it starts in first gear, goes up to second, goes up to third, stuff like that. You have clutch, brake, so at the end we can just full brake and handbrake the thing. From the beginning we can have the lights on. The throttle we're gonna give it. We're gonna have the turret control activated, so let's just put the camera here for now. We are not gonna be moving immediately. We don't need to. We're just gonna start the engine. Let's just see what happens. We're just gonna keep the camera in the same position. We're just gonna move the turret for now and see what happens. Insert gunner. Okay, let's try that. Okay, we're gonna move the turret left a little bit. We need to have it at 0. Then it's gonna do like this, and then we're gonna move it the other way here, and we're gonna have the thing shoot here, shoot. I'm confused. If I make it shoot here, is it shooting continuously? Let's just check it out and see what happens. Oh, I need to put the handbrake on. Oh. It does shoot continuously. This is Arma. 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 I need to put the handbrake on immediately, or else it's just going to roll off the hill. But the engine's on, which is excellent. Let's put the handbrake on immediately, and full brakes. And now we're going to preview again and see what happens. God, I love Arma. Don't you just love Arma? Please stand still. There we go. We can move the turret. Start firing. Oh my god, it's so sexy. Thank you, Bohemia, for adding this beast. Excellent. Okay, we know it works. The lights are on. Clutch. Let's make the thing move. That obviously means we have to turn off the brakes at this point, and we need to turn off the handbrake. And from here, we need to fish. Oh, why is this number? Why can it go so high? Let's set efficiency to 10, I guess. Steering forward. First gear, second gear at this point, third gear at this point. We're gonna have, at this point, full throttle. How high does it get? Full. And then I'm just gonna put it to 0.5, because I don't know what it... Again, we're just experimenting, guys. Just experimenting. What's gonna happen is this thing is just gonna roll off. So at this point, it's gonna start moving. We're just gonna do like this. See what happens. Tell it to move right or left, so it's just gonna go straight into a tree, but it works. It works. So that's just perfect. That was actually kind of funny. Let's try it again. I just want to see. But that's how you control a vehicle, guys. It never gets old. But you can see, guys, from here, it's gonna be hard for you to have like a long continuous shot where you're gonna move the LEV left and right and you do a lot of complex stuff. But this is at least how you make it move, right? You don't need to add crew and stuff like that. You just insert a gunner and turret shoot here this long, right? So between here and here, the turret shoots, right? That is how you make a vehicle move. So this is just the LEV. You can, of course, do this with vehicles that doesn't have turrets as well. Okay. Now, which one are we gonna do? We can do light and a weather track. So you wanna have a specific type of weather. Let's add a weather track. So we're gonna set a time of day. Okay, we want this nice golden hour light. We want to set the weather type to 1 to give us some slight overcast. Or you can set it to 2, which is full overcast and then rain. Like this. Let's just set it to 1. We can change the wind speed, high and low, to give more storm feels. It's going to move the clouds as well. You can change the wind direction. You can add wetness. So you see how it affects the entity. We're gonna add puddles like this. Full wetness, puddles. Yeah, Nice. You can add fog. Fog height you can increase. Works better with different weather types. I'm sure you can set different dates. This actually affects constellations and where the sun is at a given time, at what month and year you have it. That's just because Arma is Arma, and it's incredible. Let's change the weather type again. And the cool thing you can do, let's just ignore the LEV because you know how to manipulate that. The cool thing you can do now, so let's move up and watch the landscape here. We're gonna delete these things. So you want to make a cinematic shot of just nature. You have a map you want to showcase. So what you can do, let's move the camera here. So it moves like down and low, just like I thought you guys. So it's moving slowly. Oh, it's so cinematic. Blah, blah, blah. What we're gonna do, we are gonna do this. So over the course of this, we're going to change the time of day. Okay? See that? You can make a time lapse really easily like this. You can even change the weather type. Just like that. And it's going to change live like this. It's going to switch to different overcast, and it's going to switch again. Very simple stuff. Probably not the best idea to change weather types too much, but you get the idea. So we can have like from night go into day very quickly like this. So if you want to make awesome time lapses, the first video I ever did that got recognized by Bohemia Interactive was a time-lapse video of Tanoa, I think. I always find myself just stopping and watching the scenery with just shots being fired all around me. It's truly gorgeous. Yeah, the enfusion engine terrain and it's really nice. I totally agree. So there you have the weather track. What I like to do when I make a cinematic is I just set the weather for the scene here. I do not use this thing, which is up top. I don't use that. Maybe if I want to manipulate fog and stuff like that, but it's not really, it doesn't work really well. It's better to just override using the weather track. Okay? So guys, please do that. We're now 1 hour and 22 minutes in. We're gonna do a few more things, I think. You guys understand weather now by using this. Let's move that out of the way. Still have our camera. Camera attached to slot. Character track, enable track. What is the enable track? Well, if you are familiar with Arma 2 and 3, let's put the LEV one down again, just for this. Let's have the enable track. We'll call it LEV 1. You can even call it LEV 1 enable, disable, I think. Let's do that. Rename. Enable with the underscore system. So at this point it's enabled, but I need to move the camera. Here, delete that, and at this point we're going to disable. Okay, so if I preview, will it disable or hide the LEV or not? But that's the purpose of enable and disable. there might be situations where there it goes. There might be situations in your cinematic where you want to hide certain things, and this is just the way you hide and show different things in your cinematic. Very simple. That's just all. That's what you use it for: hide and unhide, just like you used to do in Arma 3. So that is enable track. All right. Very quickly on that. FFX track, general track. Sure, let's name the general track LE1, because the general track, you can use that to move objects. So I just enable the general track. It doesn't have a current position yet. We need to give it a position. So let's say something like, if I put the spare bottle here, it's gonna have coordinates, right? So if I take these coordinates and I add them here, see what happens. Ooh. And it's back, because it needs coordinates, right? And the point of this is that you can use the general track for a few things. So you can use it to scale. So I want to make this thing tiny. Look at this tiny little LEV. Oh my god, it's so cute. So you can shrink things if you want to using the general track. I don't know why you would do this, but I'm sure you guys are way more creative than I am. Look at that tiny thing. You have yaw, pitch and roll. See what that does. Yeah, it's just the yaw and pitch of the LEV. We don't need to screw around with that too much, but you can change using that. Okay, we'll just keep it normal for now. We don't need to screw around with that. But here's the thing. Say I want to manipulate. I want to preview how something moves. I can use the general track to do that. So say I want to... shrinking is a cool feature, and it came very late in Arma 3. See, how do I... Was it the set axis? Yeah, I just want to move this like this for now. So there it is, and what I want to do now is move it forward a bit. See that? So you can preview movement with this. You can also use this to like move helicopters if you want with the general track. It's not the best way of creating movement, but it works. So you can move things around, and you can scale them using this. So it's a cool feature to use. Say you have like a drone, you can have the rotor spinning using a different method, and you just move the drone around with this. That's one way of doing helicopters, for instance. So that's the general track. There are plenty of creative ways of using all of these things, but I'm just showing you guys how the basics of it works. Alright, so that was a general track. Light track, yes. For this, let's just make it dark, because it makes more sense. Okay. I don't use the weather track now, this is just two. So if you go to create down here, let's find light entity. Let's put the light entity down. I'm gonna move it up like this. I'm going to call it light. Okay, now we're going to add a light track called light, and you see how it instantly enables. We can change the radius of the light like this. You can change the color of the light using this. So say you want to have scary red. Ooh. Alright. And LV is just the luminance value. That's what it stands for. So you can increase the luminance doing this. It will bloom out eventually, but you can do that. Say you want to have several lights in a scene. You can hold down Alt and just drag. Now you have light 2 automatically. So it just adds 1, 2, 3, 4. And what you can do, you can just add another light track, call it light 2. And now that enables. Say you want to enable it at a later stage, so after a few seconds. And you want this one to be like blue. So we go over to blue, change it to blue, change the luminance. Now we have red-blue kind of effect going on here. But this one doesn't enable for after a few seconds. So we have the camera set up here. Let's see if that works. Maybe I need to disable it first and then enable. I'm not sure. But it's key, everything is keyframe, so you can change the value up and down just as you want yourself. But now we have red and blue light in the scene. You can of course have static lighting, but just by adding the light entity itself, but you can manipulate all of the values of the light using the keyframes here. So say that you want it to go up and down, and the same with this one. So you want to have the radius go all the way down, you want the radius to go all the way up, and more LV. And let's just preview and see what that does. Should have the light pulsating kind of way. I used this in one of my cinematics, or the only cinematic I made. Yeah, you see the light values change. I used this in the cinematic that I did to create like flashes inside of the building, so it looks like gunfire is going on inside. So that's one way of doing it, like you can have flashes going off. So that's just a light track you can use. And then you have, let's get rid of this again. Let's get rid of the lights, the bottle as well. I don't need the bottle there, and that was just to get the coordinates. Let's get rid of the light track. Reforger is really cool at night, I do agree. Physics track. How did this work again? I do apologize, I don't have everything on the top of my mind. But let's say, let's rename the physics track. Don't delete it. Just, whoa. I don't need to open the script definition. I just need to rename it. Let's see if that's how it works again. So you can play a pulse where you add physics. So let's say we have some crazy velocity in all angles here, and some angular velocity. I don't know what this is gonna do. Is that too much of a wait? Let's do a little early. Let's just preview, see what happens. Thanks for the guide, bro. Don't delete this post. No, we're gonna keep this up. This is easier for me to do than making a... Whoa! Haha! That's so fucking cool. Okay, that's how you do physics, guys. I might have gone a little bit overboard there, but it was a perfect demonstration of how to use physics. You know, in the original cinematic tutorial by Bohemia Interactive, he uses this by script to make like a whoomp when an RPG, nor like a mortar hit happens right next to it. Can I just reduce this greatly? But if you want to do like tank flies to space kind of a meme for Arma, this is the way to go. Just greatly reduce this so the same thing doesn't happen. Preview again. Hits a rock, flies to space. Yeah, that's better. So now you can imagine we used the tricks we did earlier with the particle effect, and we can add like a mortar strike behind. Yeah, that's how we do it. We are creative. So that's just how that works. So now we have physics on the vehicle. So we have velocity, angular, and just velocity, and you play the impulse at the given moment. So say you want to have a, like I said, a mortar hit, and then you just play the impulse and the car flips. I do this as well in the Arma video that I did earlier. I should just link the cinematic I did then. It has a lot of these techniques in it. I'll just link it in the description of the thing. How about that? Okay, so that's velocity, Velociraptor. I'm getting tired. I'm sorry, guys. We are now moving on to bone animation. The bone animation is puppeteering of the characters, and anything that has a bone in Arma you can manipulate. So let's find a character. We're just gonna leave the turret here, but I need a character to showcase this a little bit better. So yeah, let's just use this guy. Okay. Okay, so here we have this guy. Let's call him Frank. Hello, Frank. We need to add a bone animation to Frank. Let's call it Frank Bone Head. Okay. So we're gonna animate the head bone of Frank. If you do not know, all characters have bones in their mesh. So you have like hips, left leg, and you have the head itself, and you just find the bone you want to manipulate. Isn't there one just called head? Isn't there? Am I crazy? Spine, left pectoral, pinky fingers, left hand prop, neck, head. Yes, there is one called head. Alright, so inside the mesh you'll find the bone name that you need. Let's go back here. And inside of this one, the bone animation, you need to add the bone name. So head. I swear to God, I need to change the camera. Alright, so here we go. We want to change the yaw and pitch. So here, you just change the values like this. Yes, everyone. Oh well, I need to shoot off, do some work stuff for tomorrow. Good night, chat. Great guide, mate. I'll watch it back later and see what I can create. Have a good one, and say bye to Buckfast. Yes. You guys see, you can manipulate using keyframes. So I want to have the head moving like this. You can preview like this. It's a little bit robotic. So we can have the entire pitch roll. Give that a noise modifier. See what that does. You wobbly. Strength not that much. 0.7 maybe. A little bit more natural. Okay. We don't want to change the position of it. But we can have the strength increase. See what that does. Whoa. We don't need that. 0.5. Speed. 0.5 as well. Always drunk. We can have like cinematic where you play a really drunk guy. But you guys get the idea. You can have track modifiers on the bone animation as well. So say you just want to have him look left and quickly move the other way, and you can just change the values as you see fit. So say an example, you want to do a shot where a guy is sitting and he's wearing night vision and you just want him panning left to right in a shot. You can use this. Perfect way to use this. Position you don't want to fuck with. That's just not what you want to do. But it is really funny. Somebody screenshot this and say Ceb's cinematic tutorial. Alright. I'm playing around, but you guys get the idea of how to use this. So you can do left arm. I think that's a bone. And now it's manipulating the left arm instead because we changed the bone name, right? See that? Yeah. So you can manipulate all down to the pinky fingers if you want. And I don't and if you want to say you want to do head and arm, you can do like this left arm. And then you can have head for another. So head, and this one is left arm. So you see that? So if you want to do several things on one character, you can do that. It's important that you have underscore bone, so you know what the hell it is, and the bone that you're manipulating in the text, so you know what you're manipulating. Just pro tip. And then you can manipulate several things on one character like this. If you want to do stop motion animation, be my guest. It's gonna take you some time, but this is how you use bone animation track. Let's just check the last one I want to do before I round it up, because I don't want to go past 2 hours. No one's gonna watch the video then. We're gonna do camera tweak, and we're gonna do attach to. But first, there was one other thing with bone animation. We'll say thank you to Frank. What you can do, just so you understand. I was just manipulating the bone name of the character. But if the bone is inside of a compartment, you won't be able to reach it. So if there's a bone inside the compartment of something, you can reach it using this. So for instance, the LAV, I'm just going to turn this off. The LAV itself, inside of the mesh of the LAV, you have the base, and the base does not have the turret. But I want to move the turret, right? But it's not here. No turret to be found. So what do I do? Well, inside of the compartment slots, I can create one that is called turret compartment slot. Could you call it turret? And see if I remember this. The turret itself should have a bone. Let's go back to the mesh. I don't always remember this correctly. That's the base. Love 25. You have the cannon. So the cannon of the... No, that's the one, not the one I was after. That's just the main cannon. What's it called? Turret? Is this the one? Yeah, so you have the turret, and this thing, the LAV-25 turret, has its own bones. Hello, lads. Hello, Michael. So the LA-25 has a mesh that's just the body without the wheels, and it has compartments. I don't know. Compartment slots. Am I remembering this correctly? Anyway, the thing is, if the bone is inside of a compartment of this, you won't be able to reach it. So you need to find the slot. Is that what it's called? Slot manager? Turret! There it is. There you have it. So, V-turret slot. So, in the slot manager component, you'll find the turret. And the turret has its own bones. And I don't want to create a variant just to find the bones, but it has something like V-turret 1. Is that what it's called? V-turret, and it's inside the turret compartment. I don't know if that's gonna work. Is it V-turret 1? Yeah, but the point is, inside vehicles, you'll find the bone name will be attached. Will be, for instance, in the in this prefab. This prefab has the bone that we need, and you need to access the slot called turret to find it. Pivot ID V-turret slot. I just want to find the bone name of this thing without mesh. There, of course, Ceb. V-turret 01. Okay, V-turret. I was so close. 01. Okay, and it's inside the turret compartment. Okay, excellent. And I'm not moving it, but that's how it should work. V-turret underscore 1. V-turret underscore 1, and it's inside the turret slot compartment. V-turret slot. Do I need to call it that? I don't think that's the issue. But anyways, if you want to reach a bone that's inside, like you want to do a gauge on a helicopter on the instrument panel, that's what you use the slot name for. Sometimes the bone is inside of a slot. Okay, now we move over to something else. So let's delete this, and we are gonna take a look at camera tweak track. You have seen, maybe you've seen scenes where the camera is attached to stuff. So you can attach the camera to the LAV1, and we have attached it to the root, and you can change the offset of the entire camera. So if we preview, the camera is going to go to root, so it's going to be in the center of the LAV. It's my suspicion. Yeah, so it's root and it's facing upward. So what you can do with the camera tweak is that you can attach the camera basically to any object that you want. So say we want to attach to the turret 01. Was that a bone that we had accessible? I just need to check the mesh. You have V body, you have the back door. There's so many bones to this. But I want this. What's this called? Wheel. Okay. I try to copy paste. And we're not gonna have any offset. I'm just gonna see where it puts me now. But you'll see, yeah, I'm attached to the wheel. But I'm facing straight up. And the thing you have to do in order to get, like, you know, when you want the camera attached to the vehicle as it drives, so you need to try and manipulate these settings to have the camera facing the direction that you want. So say I set that to 90, it's gonna change the camera from looking straight up to looking somewhere else because of we changed the angle. So we just need to use, now it's upside down. So okay, let's use minus 90 and it's going to be facing the correct way. See if that logic holds up. That logic held up. Now the camera is facing the right way. I just need to offset it off to the side. So that's one way of attaching it to another object. You can attach the camera to anything you like. You can attach it to vehicles, to soldiers, to any entity that has a bone. You just need the bone name. I believe you can even attach the camera. If you have any entity with a bone, you can attach it to. So you want to offset the thing like this. And you can even go up a little bit. See what that does. So camera orientating is more trial and error than direct control within the editor. Sometimes it is, yes. You can't preview this, unfortunately. In some cases you can, like with the ordinary camera path, not the camera path, camera track, you can preview everything. But in the Tweek track, you do not have that luxury. It is basically trial and error. But if you know what the values, what they do, and you know how much of the value you're supposed to set to move your camera, you can use basic math and end up where you want the camera. So it is trial and error, but say you want that, you just need that shot, it's what you have to do to get there. So you can attach the camera to any object that has a bone, basically. Then you have the attach to slot. So, okay. Let's just try this out. Let's say I wanna attach. What do we wanna attach? Do we have a barrel or something? Something stupid like that. Barrel filled. Barrel. This is just for testing. So barrel, we want to attach it to turret. No, that's not how it's supposed to be. We're gonna barrel. We're gonna attach it to the LAV1, and the slot name is turret. See if that does anything. I don't really play around with attach to too much. I should, because this is how in many of the trailers they use this to manipulate like weapons and stuff. They don't use the weapon components in the characters. They use this attached to slot track and attach weapons to characters so they can control every aspect of it. So let's just move the camera back here. See if this did anything. In theory, it should move the barrel to the turret slot of the LAV-25 if I did it correctly. It did not. Trial and error. I'm sorry guys, I don't use this too much, but there should be you should be able to just attach to slot. Entity to attach. Barrel? Is that slot name? Am I doing this the other way around? Is that... Did I do it the other way around? See if that works somehow. No. Okay. Bad tutorial. 1 out of 10. Anyway. We gone through all of the different tracks. You guys will just have to test out the attached to slot track yourself, because I don't remember exactly how to use it. We've covered all of the tracks. Yes, we've covered all of the tracks. We did the thing where we checked off the camera position so it's not enabled. You know how to preview. And then in the end there's the thing about exporting. So say you want to export 200 frames. So we want 200 frames of this. You can, if you want, have the displayed units here in seconds. So you know how many seconds in you are instead of frames. And you can change the playback speed. But if you want to export, there's a few things you can do. If you have a really high frame rate, you can create a slow motion shots. You don't have to have the shot in slow motion here. You can just export it as 300 frames in the image resolution you want. 4K is always the better option if your computer can handle it. And then what kind of image format you want to export it in. You can have compressed PNGs, no compression. That's gonna leave you with a huge amount of data. So it's gonna be several gigabytes of data, depending on how long your scene is. And then you have bitmap. I use compressed PNGs. It's fine for me. If you normally want to keep the image quality standard 8-bit. If you want to do color corrections, more professional color corrections, you can use high quality and do more color corrections like that. All right. So when you export this, it's gonna give you a series of images. So let's just create an output folder. We're not gonna put it in my mod. Cinematic tutorial. Put it in here. We're gonna put it at 30 FPS at HD, because I don't. Yeah, let's just put it at preview, lowest possible quality, just to show you guys how it works. When you press export, it's just gonna export each and every frame that you have. So the world is gonna go, and once all of the frames are captured, all of the frames will be individually put into the cinematic tutorial folder. And now it's done, it's switching back to the edit mode. And just to wrap this up, I'll show you guys how this looks in any editing program. So don't judge me. I don't want to spend too much money on Adobe. So say I want to make a new file. What I can do is that I can import, and I want to find my video projects, which is here somewhere, and we have cinematic tutorial, and you see here how there's a bunch of images, and that's what it does. It exports like this, but you wanna, when you import, you wanna open the sequence, right? So you want the first image to be 0 and the last to be 100. And when you import that to your editing program of choice, you get something like this. A continuous video file. It just puts all of the images together. Alright? So this is just how it works. And from here you can edit and do whatever you want, okay? That's how it works. It doesn't give you an MP4 or something like that. It just gives you images and you put them together in your editing program. Alright, I'm gonna give it back to you guys if you're watching. Is there anything you're missing? Let me know in chat. Let's give you guys some chance to type anything if there's anything you're missing. I think I did okay. Let's see what everyone else thinks when I post this 2-hour monstrosity. I'll have to catch up with the guide later. Your cinematic content always seemed like black magic to me, Ceb. Thank you, appreciate the guide. Okay, so what I want to say is that there's a lot of things that I don't know about the cinematic tools myself yet, because you have to get familiar with many of the aspects of the workbench itself to kind of understand what to manipulate and what to not touch. Like the possibilities you have with this engine it's so much better than the real virtuality engine we had with Arma 1, 2, and 3, for that sake. It's a modern engine. You can have so much like physics and stuff from Blender you can import. You can mix and match. You have HDR. You can change around with colors. You can do so much. Just look at the latest trailer from Bohemia about modding coming to the PS5. That trailer is made with the same tools I'm showcasing you now, even though it's a much more professional team behind the wheel. But if you have the creativity and the drive, you can make that kind of quality yourself by using tools that are free to you. Not free to you, you have to buy Arma Reforger on PC. So it's not free, but the tools are there. You get it with, if you buy Arma Reforger, you have access to the tools, and then you can mod. And that's the backbone of Arma, isn't it? Modding. And this is one of the things you can do. Create cinematic shots, showcase your mods or your content inside of the Workbench using the cinematic timeline. And with that, I'm gonna say thank you for watching. If you're watching this live, big thank you to you. Please subscribe, follow me on Twitter or X, that's where I'm usually at. And consider becoming a member if you want. You don't have to. I don't need the money. It's always nice. So with that, I'm gonna go to bed. All right. Have a good one.